Hey, I've had a reply from the DVLA. I had one come through on about the 21st saying thank you for your letter. It's receiving attention, and they'll reply when they've done an investigation. So I've had one come through now, so they've obviously done their investigation on me. This letter is from the complaints team, and I haven't made a complaint. But I got this one come through this morning, and they sent back my driving licence card as well. I sent them my provisional card. They sent that back to me. But this is the letter that I've had from them. The address at the top, they've actually addressed the letter to me, the human woman. So they've correctly addressed it. But the contents is still directed to my artificial person. So it's addressed correctly, but directed to my corporation. So I've got, Dear Miss Shotbolt, thank you for your notice dated the 23rd of April addressed to the DVLA. As a complaint case handler, I have been asked to reply. The content of your letter has been noted. However, I should draw your attention to a number of points regarding the licensing of drivers and the registration and taxation of vehicles. The Road Traffic Act 1988 requires all drivers to hold a driving licence which is valid and appropriate for the class or category of vehicle in order to drive legally on UK roads. Those holding valid driving licences issued outside Great Britain may well be permitted to drive here depending on the circumstances. In addition, the Vehicle Excise and Registration Act 1994 requires vehicles to be taxed unless they are properly declared as being used or kept off the public road, a statutory off-road notification. The tax disc must be properly displayed on the vehicle, and the vehicle must be properly registered with the DVLA. The letter you supplied, if it has any effect, does not provide for any exception or exemption from these requirements or any other requirements with regards to the licensing of drivers and the registration and taxing of vehicles. If you are stopped by the police and found to be in breach of the law regarding your driving licence and or vehicle, then they will have no option but to report you for the offence. Similarly, if the DVLA receive any notification of such a breach, then we will have no option but to take the necessary actions to enforce the law. I note you have returned the photo card of your driving licence. If you intend to give up driving and you wish to surrender your driving licence, please also return the paper counterpart of your licence. I will then ensure that both parts are securely destroyed and your driver record is closed down. I must make it clear that if you choose to do this, you will have no entitlement to drive on a public road. If you drive after surrendering your driving licence, you will be committing an offence and you will be liable to be prosecuted if stopped by the police. Please find enclosed the photo card part of your licence, which is being returned to you while you consider your next steps. You have also returned a vehicle registration document for your vehicle, which has been issued by the Jersey authorities. I must advise that the DVLA is only tasked with maintaining a register for vehicles registered in the UK. Therefore, I am also returning this document to you. Further information on how to ensure you may drive legally on UK roads and how to obtain the necessary documents can be found at this address. I trust my letter has clarified the situation for you. Yours sincerely, Michelle, whatever her name is. So naturally, I wrote a reply. It's the first draft, so any feedback, fully appreciate it. This is one that I've just put together. So here we go. Dear Michelle, thank you for your recent correspondence dated the 24th of May, correctly addressed to me, Hannah the human woman. I did, however, notice that you've directed the contents of your letter to my sole corporation, Miss Hannah Shotbolt. I understand that although you have addressed it correctly, you have not written it to me. Very clever. Since I am executive, administrator and beneficiary to said artificial person, legal entity, sole corporation, Miss Hannah Shotbolt, I will be dealing with this matter. For the record, though, I am indeed Hannah, a real-life woman and not a soulless fiction. With regards to the points you made in reference to the Road Traffic Act and the Vehicle Excise Registration Act, I would like to confirm that I understand acts to be statutes, and statutes are not laws. It is an established fact that statutes can only have the force of law with the consent of the governed, and as I have evidenced in my claim of right, I have in fact withdrawn consent to be represented and thus governed by any other human. Therefore, these laws, as you call them, have no effect on me as a free woman. I will, however, for and on the record, rebut individually each of your points. Number 1. Legally speaking, I am not a driver. Black's Law Dictionary 9th edition. Driver: a person who steers and propels a vehicle, or a person who herds animals. Black's Law Dictionary 4th edition: when employed in conducting or operating a coach, carriage, wagon or other vehicle with horses, mules or other animals, or bicycle, tricycle, motor car, though not a street railroad car, a person actually doing driving, whether employed by owner to drive or driving his own vehicle. And then I quote the 2nd edition as well, but there's no point in me reading it. It's basically the same as the 4th. So, evidently, legally, the word driver clearly describes a person employed in the act of operating a vehicle. Since I am not employed to operate my car, as I am neither a taxi nor a courier, etc., I understand that I do not require a licence to exercise what is in fact a God-given right to travel freely. The 9th edition definition of the word driver is different from the earlier revision of the word, as the deception on society has increased. I'm not here to school you, but if you want to check out the word person in Black's Law Dictionary, you will see that there is a well-established divide between the two separate entities, one of the natural person, the human being, and one of the artificial person. The latter is a fiction created by government without full disclosure via the registration of a birth. As a free woman, I do not give permission for my legal name to be used as personal identification, and thus I cannot be bound by your laws, acts and statutes. I will, for legal purposes in this matter, define myself as a traveller, which I define below from Black's Law Dictionary. Black's Law Dictionary 9th edition, traveller: a person who passes from place to place for any reason. With regards to the Vehicle Excise and Registration Act, I have made my position clear with regards to paying tax in my notarised Notice of Lawful Tax Rebellion. I understand that the people of this country have a lawful duty under the laws of war to refuse to pay tax if we believe our governments are using the money to fund the murder and genocide of innocent civilians abroad. I do very strongly believe this to be the case, and as my Notice of Tax Rebellion is a notarised and closed document, I suggest you contact the Queen or the Archbishop directly if you wish to discuss that matter further. Number 3. A citizen has the right to travel and to transport his property upon the public highways in the ordinary course of life and business. However, if one exercises the right to travel without first giving up the right and converting that right into a privilege, the citizen is by statute guilty of a crime. This amounts to converting the exercise of a constitutional right to a crime. Recall the Miller versus the US. Unless you can provide proof that the DVLA actually own the public roads, then I'm afraid you're guilty of deception, obstruction, perjury and gross negligence equal to fraud in your claim that I can't travel on public roads without a licence. As I attempted to return to you in good faith my provisional driver's licence card for your disposal, I shall instead be forced to dispose of it myself. I lost the paper part years ago and have no intention of purchasing a new one just to return to you. I'm informing you now that I have disposed of the card, and be it now known that any actual or presumed contract between us is now rescinded. I trust my letter has clarified you too. Namaste, Hannah. So that's my reply so far. If anyone thinks I should say anything else, or if I've got anything wrong, please comment below, let me know. If anyone wants a copy of it, my notice of rescission, I still need email addresses. So have a great day, guys.